Okay, here we are once again. Another week. Another week where... Let me make sure I got this thing paused. Yes. We are recording on a day that is not Saturday.
Is the audio working? Is this actually gonna?
That is a good question, but yes, I was actually checking. I actually did check before we went live, and it is lighting up for you guys. I do have Discord muted, so it does not record you guys twice. Everything is A-okay.
Hell yeah.
And to even make it better, I have an EP Carrillo, The Pledge. #1 cigar in the world, like 3 years ago.
I have, it's empty.
Oh,
Empty.
looks like you need to make some purchases.
I do.
You can either make it at your local place, or you can ask me, and I will give you the online.
Oh yeah,
hookup.
the online hookup. Yes. No. You give me a month to get a job, and then I'll hit you up.
That's fine.
Hey man, you find a job around here.
OnlyFans it only takes the afternoon to set it up.
That's why I'm here, baby. You thought I wasn't just trying to establish the audience here? Yeah.
It's fair. How you doing, James? Tell the people. I mean, I know you told us how you're doing, but you haven't told the people how you're doing. So tell the people.
This is the first time they get to see James because the previous one is lost to the ether.
Oh, that's true. They didn't see the one with James. That's right.
It's the first one, technically. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Who is this fucking guy?
Yeah. Who is this man? Tell people who you are.
Let's see. My name's James. Work as a federal technician, so gotta do Army thing full time. When I'm not doing that, I'm doing National Guard stuff. No, that's just me and my good old buddy Goose. You can't really see. But,
we can see. He blends in with the couch perfectly.
Yeah. That's my bed, but close enough.
I mean, you said the other day you were buying a couch. You didn't say you were buying a bed.
I didn't need to buy a bed. I already owned a bed.
What color is your couch?
Technically it's
yeah, get fucked. That's right, get fucked.
So I want to tell you something that's funny. I turned my camera back on right when you said what the color of the couch was, and both of you paused. So the audience has no idea what you said. They just heard Placebo say, "Yeah, get fucked."
Yeah. Is black. Same color as he'd blend in with the couch too.
He would blend in with the couch, yeah.
All right, well, great. Solid entry, solid start. I will say that this week I did not give prompts because I was going through the list and I was having a hard time finding anything that was not so estrogen filled. And I was just like, you know what? Not this week. Not this week. I mean, they were all like, when did the inner you soar through the sky? It was like, there were 70 prompts, and we've used 8. And yes, the other 62 were Dove chocolate quotes. Just like, when did you realize you were a goddess? Look, I gotta find a different list. But also, I think a couple of the social media posts we will be having kind of fill that role a little bit. There's a couple that I think could serve that purpose. That kind of ask a little bit like, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's almost like the bro version of that a little bit. You'll know exactly. When I'm like, okay, so what do you guys think about this? You'll be like, oh yeah, no, this is the slightly more masculine version of when did you, realize you were a bird destined to soar over the oceans of sorrow. I just looking at James like complete face as I'm talking about soaring over the oceans of sorrow.
I'm still kind of waking up.
Yeah, that's what I said. It looks like you've not slept. That's exactly what it. Well, anyway, let's get. I guess we'll just get started. We'll jump right into it. Let me share screen, and then we all get to watch me do this, and then we all get to watch me do this, and boop, there we go. We're sharing the screen. Okay, our first little joyous event is going to be this chick. Now.
Oh man, I don't want to.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. No. It's not bad, but we're going to start from the beginning.
Itty bitty.
Okay, now watch this. It's absolutely like anyway. And I'm gonna make a point. There's one thing I really want to. So it's she's already clearly just completely not paying attention. But it gets great. It gets absolutely fantastic. Wait for it. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. This is sped up, by the way. Okay, so it took about 1006. And this is my favorite. Okay. Her reaction is really... So. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing there. Go ahead, give me your feedback.
I love it. I think we should all be empowered to live our lives the way we see fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was living her truth.
Yes. Okay. Good. My favorite. Oh, go ahead.
I should have rented a better car. The one that has the lane keep assist, so at least you wouldn't have gone off road.
Right. My favorite is that it almost felt like her reaction was almost frustration, as if, like,
Something
why did this
happened
happen?
to her?
Yes, like, why did this happen to me? As if there was no because the video footage was sped when she was looking down. You could tell by how fast her thumb was moving and how the car was it was sped up. So it was actually probably closer to 10 seconds at least that she was not only not looking at the road, but had both hands off the wheel. And for someone to think that I don't understand. It was just one of those things. It's like, how are there people roaming this earth who cannot process that would result in the car running off? I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the best results it could have been, right?
Yeah.
Like, it barely ran off the road and ran over a mailbox. That could have been. I mean, if she went into the other lane, because cars passed by while she was looking at her phone. Like, that's insane. But I don't know. It's like, I don't want to bring up the meme of girls and accountability, but boy, it sure feels like it fits really strongly here, right? When you're doing this and you're like, why me? It's like, of course you. Like, what are you talking about? Why you?
I mean, this could just be. I was going to say, it just could be normal behavior for her, and then this is the one time that it happens.
Actually,
and then this is why we're doing the why me thing. But
I guess, still, you should still have enough awareness of the situation to know that you've been, like, that action itself should lead to this. If you got away with it, you were lucky to get away with it. Not like,
but it's the same like vein of thinking of like someone who's just like, I speed everywhere I go and then finally get pulled over. Like, oh, why are you pulling me over now after I've been speeding for the last 5 years of my life, right? Like, why is it happening now?
I guess because I'll say this. I didn't really speed, but when I sped, I knew it. I was more of like, I guess I was always more like, ugh, I knew this was yep. I was frustrated with myself. I was like, man, this is stupid. I know I shouldn't have been doing this. I've been pushing it for so long. It's almost like gambling, right? Like, eventually, if you're on a hot streak, the casino always wins, right? Like, it's going to hit back. I don't know. There's just, I guess, but I don't know. There's something about watching her just sit there for 10 full sets. And I've seen people kind of take their set, they're either looking and, do this, and then they can kind of tell, right? But it's when you just like full on don't look. I don't know. I've honestly never seen anybody do it quite that bad. I've never done it.
She
I don't
looked
know.
up a few times.
Not that final. Yeah, before, but that final 10 second that I was counting, she didn't. She just it was pure
it was
down.
as if she was like her focus was on her texts and she was glancing at the road in front of her like it was her secondary like focus, which is the exact opposite of how it should obviously be, right? I don't know. I think we've moved the Overton window too much, like, because I was tempted to say, if you really need to text, like at a red light or something like
wait
that,
till,
I'm
yeah, I
okay with
agree.
it. But I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that anymore, because then that moves the Overton window a little bit, and then in 2 years we'll be saying, oh well, as long as you're the only one on the road or something like that, right? It's gonna drift, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, in 2 years, all the cars are going to be driving themselves, so we don't have to worry
I
about it.
don't know about that. I hope you're right. Um, I hope you're right.
Well, that was a joke, but yeah, sure.
No, I mean, I would rather have the cars do it than these people. Like if I had to choose.
It's crazy. Like
Um,
I would rather
I trust
have control.
the car
yes.
more than these people.
I trust
don't
myself
them.
more than I do cars, but I don't
Yeah.
trust other people like this. You're correct. You're correct. So this kind of leads into my next a little bit. And I don't know how much experience you guys have with Reddit. But
None.
it's just this. Okay.
I know of it as the.
Well, then you may
location
not.
where
I guess I was
you should
assuming
not.
that you guys have a little bit of experience with the people on Reddit. But I'll just read it and then we'll kind of go. Hundreds of funded studies and governments looking into games radicalizing people, and nobody's looking at Reddit where people post exactly what they are thinking. And I will say this: there are people on Reddit right now that are saying like the most vile things, right? Like about the current shooting situation, where they're like, "Good,
Sure.
should happen. This is how we get what we want." This kind of thing. The only reason I'm on Reddit is usually to pay attention to like Korean drama stuff, or not Korean drama, Korean variety show stuff, and they tell me like, "Oh, this show is delayed this week because a politician got caught cheating on his wife or something," and then all the news channel. Like that's why I use it. I use it for something that I couldn't get any other way. I need somebody to translate Korean news for me. But even within those, the level of intelligence is so absurdly low. It makes Twitter look like a Rhodes Scholar. Okay, like it is impressive. And I guess I was predicting that you guys would have a stronger opinion by having experienced it, so this is kind of pointless and just a way for me to
You can use some of it. There's something to work with. James, you got something?
I was just gonna say, as far as like my Reddit use goes, it's never. I don't really just browse Reddit, I guess. So like, for me, the only time I really encounter Reddit is if I'm looking something up and somebody has posted onto Reddit,
like a computer troubleshooting issue or something.
Yeah, that or trying to do something in a video game or whatever, trying to find something, whatever, and someone's like, I did this thing in Reddit, right? But it's not like for me, Reddit's never really been a
scroll and
place I go to
conversate.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I guess I kind of view it the same way I view most internet anything. Is just or like especially like forum type places. Just people say the weirdest shit online because they think they can get away with saying whatever they want online because there's no repercussions.
This is good because this was something I did want to talk. I remember wanting to talk about this on a podcast. How much of this do you think it's people say what they can just because they can get away with it, and how much do you think it's people being who they actually are because they don't think there are social repercussions? So in other words, it's not people exaggerating and saying ridiculous things all the time. Sometimes it really is people saying things they really do feel and believe, but they would never say in public because if they said it around somebody else, there'd be a lot more negative feedback that they'd have to deal with. So they feel more comfortable to be, like, what's the balance? Because I know there's probably both, right? Both absolutely is the case, but it's like, what's the percentage? Where's the scales at here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that generally people would tend to feel like they can say whatever they want online versus in a public setting, just because at least online, I don't have to, like, yeah, maybe there's confrontation, but it's not going to be direct. Like somebody will just have to post against what I said, and eventually I'll read it, right? It's not like it's
or not
directly in my face.
I do that all the time on Facebook. Like if I'll type something under and then I'll see all the little like notifications that people have replied. I'm just like,
have to interact
and I never read it. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not gonna read your shit. I don't care.
So I would say that people are generally more emboldened when they're online for sure, but I don't necessarily think sure there are those people that are just out there just to like clickbait and troll, right? Whatever, right? They're just going to type whatever they want to type, but I think generally speaking, you'll see that people who post online, or that's usually probably how they feel about it. They're just not going to say it to you in person.
Mm-hmm.
There's a concept in psychology called social polarization. And basically it says if you take James, and James is only a little bit crazy, right? But he's crazy in a very specific way. Let's say
Facts.
James over there, he cannot stand Asians, okay?
Mm-hmm. Facts.
He loves black people, loves
Mm-hmm.
Latino people, just really hates Asians. Um, Social polarization says that if he meets someone else who shares that disdain for Asians, right, they're going to go from like level 1 Asian hate to together now they go to level 2 Asian hate, right? They
Mm-hmm.
go more that direction. And eventually, let's say that other person also hates Latino people, right? Guess what James is more likely to do,
Start
right?
doing it,
James is
yeah.
more likely to then get into that. And I think unfortunately, the way that social media works, the way that all this internet stuff works, is it really favors this social polarization thing happening. So you take people and it amplifies their crazy because everyone's got a little bit
Yeah.
somewhere in them.
Yeah, yeah.
But the polarization that we experience on places like Reddit, right? Like Reddit's the perfect place for it. You can go to r/rich and talk to only other rich people. If you're
Mm-hmm.
like, when did you start hiring a maid for your house? At what level of wealth, right? And it's like that is the most polarizing thing possibly available to you as a person,
Right.
right? Is to select the groups that you want to talk to about the topics you want to talk to. So I don't know the percentages, but I can tell you that a place like Reddit, it only serves to make things much, much worse for human connection because it makes people more crazy. Like, I think by design, unfortunately, it
Mm-hmm.
makes people more crazy.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's that's the thing. I think what we have seen, how social media and on when I say social media, I also mean discussion boards, any kind of like where people communicate directly with one another. Um, the way it has impacted society, I think, is a culmination of many factors. That is one. I think the comfort level that people have where it's not direct confrontation is another. I mean, I think there's a lot of variations that are all coming in to create this like massive monster of a impact that is not particularly positive. Um, so yes, I mean, I was just agreeing with it, but I think it's actually a really complex. I would love to sit. I mean, I don't think any study could actually get to the complexity. I believe the way that studies currently are structured, um, they would almost force them to focus on one of those issues. They would not let
Yeah.
them try to find multiples because they're like, oh, there's no way you could process all that data or whatever.
There are far too many confounding variables in there for there to be any study on it. But like, I don't know, with some of this stuff, I just can't we use the obvious test?
Mm-hmm.
Can't we gauge
Yeah.
something whether, like like no shit, this is how it works? Like look around you, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
No, I agree. Okay. So this will be my first of the kind of like the list of questions. You ready?
Sure.
This is what he. If you were a stock, would you invest in yourself? If the answer is no,
Ooh, yeah.
then it's time to make some changes. So that is my question for you guys. Where do you think you're at as a stock? And how willing are you to
I got
invest?
another one when we're done with it. This is
Okay.
a great question. I
Yeah,
love it.
I
got
see
another one
that.
for you
When I
we're
read it,
done.
I thought, ooh.
It's very, very my brand. Go ahead, James. You're smiling. Let's hear it, bud.
I don't know.
You all in on James stock? James coin?
I mean, if I'm honest about it, no, probably not.
Why?
Well, like if we're, I think that I still have a lot of things that I'm working on and improving, and not necessarily settled in.
Perfect time to buy.
But I was gonna say, does that not mean that you're a good stock to invest? If you think that you are improving, that means get in now while the price is low, and you view your life as you will be better in 5 years than you are now. Would that be safe or? Yes,
I
no?
guess yes, that is true. So I guess right now, coming back from this deployment that I was just on, I think that I've kind of reset myself in a lot of ways. So I suppose we're on an upward trajectory, or I'm on an upward trajectory. But definitely, still have things that I need to get in check. But yeah, okay. I guess, yeah, technically, I guess this would be the time. If you were going to buy stock, then yes, this would be the time to do it, yeah.
Good. Okay.
When was the best time to buy stock? When was it like, starting Bitcoin, it's about to go right? When was the best time to buy?
Realistically, probably right before deployment.
Yeah?
I mean, it's I won't say that I wasn't like, oh, excuse me, into, drugs or anything, right? Like,
Sure.
it's not like
Right.
I was a fucking terrible person, but I don't think I had a whole lot going for me right before deployment other than just kind of living normal life. But now, I've basically paid off all my debt. We're working towards being more healthy, all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
it's probably right before deployment.
I mean, James, you bought bookshelves the other day.
No, I haven't bought them yet.
Like,
haven't bought them yet.
Oh, sell right now. Sell. I'm out. Sell.
All of my books are right here in boxes. Haven't bought them yet.
So, I just want to announce something that was pretty funny. So, I had my other browser minimized, and the volume on the stream that I was watching was down to 1%, so I couldn't hear it. Until James said, I will buy, and apparently they hit good on the slot they were playing, and they cheered, and it was loud enough that I could hear it. So I'm pretty sure the people on the stream, it was perfect though, because he was like, I think now would be the time to buy, and they were like, yeah! No, it wasn't loud. It was obviously very, very low, and I've since closed the tab, but I just thought that was really funny that the timing was like perfect. And so I think they also think that now is a great time to buy stock in James. So feel good.
I don't know. We'll see. I have my fantasy football draft tomorrow. So.
No. That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, I'm waiting to see how those results, and then I'll buy or sell. I'm pretty sure I know a placebo answer, but go ahead. I'm interested. Yeah.
Well, let me hear your prediction. What do we?
It has to be a buy, right? You're working out now. You've switched over to. I know you're positive about the outlook of how your career is shifting into something else that you will be more satisfied in and will have higher pay and all kinds of stuff. So I would say I think you are like, yes, now would be a good. I'm not there yet, right? Like you haven't been through the whole school, so you're not at the height. So your value is still purchasable, but it's rising. So people better get in now.
And he did just get his midlife crisis tattoo. So
yeah, and
I did. It's there. It's there. It's all
tatted up.
Yeah, man. Yes, of course I would buy, right? Yes, of course. I do think growth is occurring. I think the best time to buy was definitely when I got out of FSU, right? As soon as I graduated FSU, I had just gotten out of the relationship with Dominique, and sort of the world was before me to make what I wanted of it. That was the best time to buy. Because before that, it was a downhill trajectory, partly of my own doing, partly circumstance, but like not sell until then.
Yeah.
Get out of FSU, buy, and then now I think we're pushing. I think we're going up. So yes, absolutely.
Good.
For all the reasons you said, you're absolutely right.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel pretty good about I'm eating healthier. It's taking a while. I was just looking, I trimmed my beard so I look a little. You can see that under jiggle a little more. But I am eating healthier. I'm, slowly but surely losing the weight. The health, I can tell by the measurements, like my blood sugar has been going down from, it was never pre-diabetic, but it was getting a little bit high. It was in the 90s, it was in the low 90s, and now we're back into the 80s, and I'm sure after another week or two of eating healthy, it will be even lower. But I know the weight's going down, the blood pressure, heart rate, all that is much more stabilized, much more right where it's supposed to be for everybody else, like in the low 70s, But anyway, that's one thing. I think I do believe that my time with the Remote Warrior Organization, which I'm going to try to get him for next week, And I would really, by the way, this reminds me, James, I really want you for next week because I would love to have another military member here when we talk to the guy about his organization. I think it would be cool. I think it would just be good to have.
I'm sure I could probably make that work.
Another military man. But my work with that organization, has been fulfilling. The amount of stuff they have going in their favor, is fantastic, right? Like I do genuinely believe that my investment of time, effort will come to a fruition. And I will get it'll come back to me. And I did just get done talking to the guy 2 days ago or something, and we had a good get together, and I got reaffirmed that he very much appreciates what I'm doing. He wants to be involved with all the stuff, everything's going on, especially the research side of things, and just I've got I was worried you always wonder when there's a little bit of our organization kind of lets you just do your thing and then you turn it in, and there's not a lot of every day we check in. But I would say in general, we're heading up. There's obviously some bumps that I'll have to deal with. There's some school loans, stuff like that that's still out there that I'm gonna have to, depending on how it works out, for a long time be dealing with. But in general, I would be I feel feel good about it. That it's get in now, ladies, because the stock's only gonna rise. The biggest thing for me is those age, right? You guys are still young, so you're still peaking. I'm getting up there in age, so it's that's the only thing that would cause a balance to the stock price. Is the older you get, the more things start to break down.
I don't know, man. My legs are absolutely shredded after this past Wednesday. I thought this is what rigor mortis must feel like, when I was waking up in the morning. It's bad.
Yeah. No, that means it's a good workout. Just that's all it means.
But my cousin, he's 17. He goes with us, and he's catching me.
Oh my gosh.
He's catching me. He's good to go the next day.
Yeah, because you're what? You're 28 now? 28?
I'm 28. Yeah.
Yeah. Testosterone levels are starting to, that teenager's peaking right about now, and
he's crushing it, and I'm jealous of how quick he recovers and can keep going.
Yeah. Now just add another 15 years, and then then all you do is you get a doctor to go, oh well, I have low, so that's it. Just make sure you get low T and then get tested, and they'll give you regular. Anyway, okay. So what was the question you wanted to ask, Placebo?
Oh, I mean, you need an answer this here. This is tricky. It's a way that I gauge strengths and weaknesses of the people that I know, right? This is my judgmental side, right? This is what I do. If you owned a business, okay, you are the owner of the big business, would you hire yourself, right? And for what positions would you hire yourself, right? Is there any position you would not hire yourself for because you would not be good at, where you would need someone else? Is there a position that you think one of your friends would excel at, but you would do does that make sense, right? You're sort of feeling out what people are good at, what people are poor at. I think it's a really, really good system for gauging where to put people that are in your lives, right? Like, do you cherish this person, or are you happy this person's around a little bit, right?
I get it, yeah.
That sort of thing.
I'll go ahead and so I would hire myself for something that requires being able to logically, kind of what we do on this podcast, where we perceive and work through concepts and ideas and kind of like a bigger picture thing, and have the truth, kind of get to the truth of the matter. And then the thing I will say this, the thing I would not hire myself for is a very highly detailed accountant or anything that is super detailed oriented. I get bored with that. That is the part that when I was doing my dissertation, that's the hardest part for me. Basically, that's why I use Grammarly. I am not good at is this comma go here or not? And taking the time to memorize it. I I'm not bad at going through and I guess looking and seeing if Grammarly got it right, because there are times you can't just trust Grammarly. By the way, anybody who uses AI edit, you have to like go over, because it will screw up what you're saying. But it does catch a lot of the dumb stuff, like I forgot to put a period, or I didn't capitalize Wyoming. That's what you basically use it for. But something that is very like dry numbers based, Cans would be good for it, because that's what he does for a living, right? He's Excel sheet extraordinaire. What do you guys? Okay, well, I think Evil would be good at, because I was thinking he's kind of good at, like, he likes congregating stuff. Like, I'm trying to think the way he loves to play games where he builds stuff, where he like congregates. He loves to gather things, and he loves to mine ore and plan out how to put the ore. What do you think that role would fit into? But in the same, I would definitely not use him in anything that was communication heavy, right? Like nothing that required good, like, I will not be there today. Just like anything that required that is not what I would put him in charge of. But I would put him in charge of, he's got a very, his natural tendencies would be towards something like, what do you think, James? What was your brain other than, yeah, I asked you right when you yawned. I've registered that.
Yeah, I think that he. I don't know, like just the easy answers. Anything that requires like an inventory and stock management, like, hey, you got it figured out. But I also think there's something to be said, and maybe it's maybe in like a remote world it makes more sense. But I do think that he's got the forward-facing charisma, I guess, sometimes.
Yes.
To like be able to have that conversation with people.
No, he's got a very pleasant personality.
Maybe,
yes.
Yeah, and maybe it makes more sense in a remote environment, more so than one where you're required to be at a specific place at a specific time. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I definitely think he's got his kind of his own way of.
It's interesting.
Well,
yes, I agree. He's personable, but sometimes he does, and I think he's admitted this. So we're not talking bad about Evil behind his back. I think this is something he has said. He does struggle sometimes to get what he actually means across. Sometimes,
well,
and so that's like. You don't want him in a position where he has to get an accurate, like, people have to directly but he is in a good position if he's like, you want them to like him and hear what he has to say. And if it's tough because he's both good and bad at communication, I guess is what I was like.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say is like, if you were to force him and I to sit down across from each other at a table and have to figure out, I don't know, a specific thing, like he's going to describe it one way and I'm going to take it a different way, and then I'm going to have to try to describe it back, and it's going to be a mess. Him and I could never it takes a minute for him and I to sit down and like figure something out, just talking to each other and have no outside like interactions with anyone else. That's probably why we're horrible on the same team in any kind of game we play.
It's funny how much of this I am assessing off of how we play games and what games we like. Like I was thinking that myself. Like, is this something? Is this accurate? Because I am definitely processing a lot of like of the information I'm taking off of people of how they like want to play a game or the type of games they like to play. What that would, but is it? What do you think about Loki? I think Loki's also a very like detail oriented. Like he would be. Would he be good at like a rules, like an enforcer or something, like someone who would make sure that your regulations, your company's matching regulations? Do you think that would be a good?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think he's also the kind of person that he's very like detail oriented and like here's my left and right limits, and I'm gonna figure out how best to get to completion of this thing within staying within these boundaries, but also like, oh, maybe I can push it a little bit past here because
so he'd be a real good accountant, is what you're saying. He'd be an excellent accountant.
Yeah. Well, he did. So for a long time, he worked for a bank. I think he was a loan officer at one point. I don't know if. I think he was, but. I also think that there's something to be said about this conversation where I know, at least for me, and probably a little bit for Jacob as well, is that I have two very different mentalities when it comes to like work brain and not work brain.
I agree.
Like
I have that too. Yeah.
I flip a switch. Like it's a very hard switch to like, or not hard, but it's a very like it's a very distinct and different switch that I like mentally am in when I'm in like work brain or work mode versus hanging out or whatever, doing whatever else that's not work. So I do think that's part of the conversation. But I think that I think he would excel in some form of. These are actually, I think what would be great for him is, so here's what I want you to do. This is the end product, and just these are your left and right limits. But other than that, figure out how to get there. And I think that like he would excel extremely well in that kind of an environment.
Yeah, because that's what I was almost kind of getting at, where I was talking about how what I'm gauging a lot of the friends, what their strengths are based off of how we engage with each other in Discord or in video games, is that isn't work brain. Because sorry, I was trying to make sure I finished that sentence. I did it. Is because, like, I know Evil is very good at doing what he does with the where he checks the hoods of like pharmaceutical companies and research facilities and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to and they're working the way and they're clean, and that's kind of a regulatory thing. And so it's like, does that play into how he is online, or is that a different element? I know when I write a paper, or especially one like a dissertation that I know is going to be heavily checked and is going to be published, the way in which I approach writing and thinking about that versus posting on social media or something for you guys, the level of detail I go into and the level of like precision I use is significantly different, right? Like it's definitely a different brain space. And so I guess everything we're saying has to be taken a little bit with a grain of salt, because very rarely are we thinking about our friends within that space, right? We're thinking usually when you're with your friends, you're in a relaxed, kind of like chill. You're not, super peaked. So I think it's somewhat accurate, but not. Maybe we should have a slight caveat that it's like there could be room for inaccuracies. I guess asterisks.
Well, none of us are perfect judges of character anyway. This is our best assessment. There's always the grain of salt with it, right? Sure.
Well, I was just thinking about myself. I'm like, I would say that when I'm with this group of people, I'm a bit
goofier and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do not act this way in work mode, army mode, whatever. There's a lot more, there's a filter there, and there's, hey, wait a minute, there's some structure that I need to follow here, and so at least for myself, like I can't do that. I'm a very different person.
I've never, I don't think when I was in front of my dissertation board, I was like, y'all know about that stanky poon as a joke to them, I wasn't like, hey guys, have you heard about the hottie down the I don't know if I've ever said that to you guys either, but just like, no. Go ahead, but you didn't. You have to answer it now, Placebo. What about you?
I think put me in charge of people, and I think it goes very well. Any sort of,
so you're almost like HR
people role.
Do you think that would be,
I don't know
about that in his past, maybe not, or maybe that makes it perfect for it.
That.
I don't know.
Sure. I don't know.
So you're thinking more of like just management. As long as you're in a management role, you can make people.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I think if my job is to make sure 20 or 30 other people, more than that, do their jobs really well, I think I would really excel in that role.
That's fair. What about?
And I think you guys are crazy about Evil. I would have Evil doing something physical with his hands 100 days out of 100.
Oh, you're right.
There is no shot I would have him do anything else. I would steal the computer from his home, and I would have him do something physical with his hands and his body, and that would be what he would do for my occupation if I was ever hiring
I was thinking
him.
within the realm of being online, but you're right. He is very naturally smoking meat. He wanted to do blacksmithing, which I think he would be.
Yeah.
Evil, if you watch this, please get back into that idea. I think that was absolutely a brilliant fit for you. Please get that forge you were wanting and get back into it. I think that is a genuinely good fit for you, man. But yes, I agree.
He would absolutely be the guy I had. Like, if I owned a steel factory, I hate to tell you, but like he'd be in there with a pickaxe for the first like few hours. But his job would also be you're making lunch for everyone there, right?
Yeah.
We got a grill out, but you are in charge of, and it would be perfectly tailored, right? It's just something physical, right? Collect.
Yeah.
Go do things physical with your hands, and then. You love making stuff, right? Just make stuff, right? No problem.
I think it's the making thing even more than the collecting. I think because I don't know if he'd want to go actually get a pickaxe or a jackhammer.
No, I doubt it.
But I do think he would like to get like a blacksmith's hammer and bang something out and make a cool knife or something. I do think he would absolutely excel in that and love it and be. You're right. I'm glad you were here to say that because I was not even thinking in that realm, and the second you said, I was like, you're 100% correct. In fact, we've talked about this
let's
before.
see what else we got. Jacob. So my gym buddy was a CFO for a company in California. We would go to Tijuana Flats together when we were hanging out drinking, and they printed out these receipts that are like this big, right? Like you ever been to a place and they print you a receipt out that's like just insanely long?
Yeah.
And the first thing that my buddy said was, I can't imagine how much money they are wasting on this receipt, right? Like how much of this is necessary. And I never would have thought of that ever, right? But his brain went, this is probably like 5 or 6 cents that they could have just been banking, and it's every customer that rolls through, that's 5 or 6. That's 100% what I'm having Jacob do. Just go in, find elements of waste and sort them out, right?
Yeah, efficiency.
Absolutely, it make things efficient. No doubt. Yeah. Those were the two that stuck out to me.
Okay. No, I like that. Well, what about us? You haven't told us.
Ooh. I don't know, man.
I agree that you can be, man. I think you're good. You're very good at. You're never perfect, but because I don't think any of us would be perfect.
Sure.
But out of all, you are exceptionally solid at processing what people's strengths are and how they're, like getting who they are for the most part.
And I think to some degree, and this might be grandstanding, but I think that I do a pretty good job of inspiring people to action in some things, right? I think I can be okay at that from time to time. I don't know. I've never seen James work. I've only seen him be silly,
Yeah, that's true.
I imagine he's very good at what he does, but I have no idea what it is. So I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a creative officer or something like that. That might be. Yeah.
Interesting.
Dude, your brain goes a million different directions every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
What are all the games that we were like, oh, we're gonna get into this when you came back?
3 days later.
Yeah, right. Like we got.
Well, on that, I think if I have some structure in my life and it's like, hey, this specific day I'm gonna do this specific thing, like then I stick to things a little bit more. But
really,
yeah,
so you're saying I disagree. We said, and I remember you said, I want to play Ark on the weekends, right? Because other people are a bit behind, and I don't want to race ahead without them. So I was like, okay, cool, no problem. Well, the weekend came by, buddy, and we were playing TFT.
Yeah, well, there was also just you and me.
Wait, you didn't feel like
Evil.
Messaging the other person and being like, hey, why don't you
nobody else was around, though. Like, I don't know. It's not... Some of that was sure that I'd bounce around, but some of it also is that like the people that I was hoping to play with were not there to play. So
sure.
Like, it's interesting.
I guess at one point, it's like, oh, maybe you just get on and play, but I don't know. I guess I was just...
I don't know enough about Jacob to know about this, but out of the group, everybody else, I think this might be the... When I send you guys a message saying, hey, let's meet at this time to do this thing, you guys have been exceptionally good to do this thing at that time. Like, that's why I always I pretty much always include Placebo, because I just know that if I set if I'm like, when are you available, Placebo? And he says, I'm available at this time, I will do it. He will do it. Like, I can just bank on it. That's why, like, to be honest, that's why we're doing podcast today instead of Saturday or Sunday or whatever. I just know, at least I got Placebo, you know? And I feel the same way. James is, the 2 times I've had to do this with you, you've been on time, you got here, you know, even if I messaged you, you still were like, oh, I got to be there. So you showed up. You didn't like, well, it wasn't when I was expecting, so I'm just going to not, you know, you showed up. Yeah. I feel like there's something to that as far as like what position you should have as well, right? Like there's something that, you know, structurally you can be relied on to show up. So I don't know what position that would. I'm kind of asking you guys, what do you think that would enhance a position, or like
it enhances everything. It's vital to I mean,
at least communicate. I don't like, here's the thing. I don't mind if you cancel, if you say I can't make it, I'm going to cancel.
Yeah.
Like, just communicate that you're good. But it's when it's like, you know, I think there's a few of us in the group that sometimes just like poof in the air, and then you're like, okay.
That I mean, it's harsh of me, but I would not hire that. I would, you know, that would. That's fair. It's not gonna fly. I just can't do that. You know.
Yeah. Or I feel like if there was a position that it was like, okay, you get 2 weeks to get this done. However you need to do. If it was almost like a solo position,
that is what I would hire you for. Okay. I agree. That's where I would put you.
It's where I've been the strongest. That's when I worked with Cigars Daily, and I was working with them on their website and did all the stuff for them. That's basically how they're like, okay, you have 2 weeks, get this project done in the next 2 weeks. I don't care when you get it done. I mean, like, you know, you can spend all day, 5 hours a day, or you can spend 4 days, 20 hours a day. As long as you get it done by this time, you know. And I guess that's because I do think part of that is because I've been in school so long. That's kind of how school's structured, right? It's like Sunday at midnight is the final time you get, you know, turn it in, and you got to, you know, you get the whole week. Do it however, fit it in wherever, but just get it done. I kind of agree with you on that. That is a position that, like, how I would work. Yeah.
I think I would probably be weakest at the position I had for the financial officer, like go in and make things efficient. I think I would be very bad at that. Because I tend to focus. I'm pretty good big picture and small picture, but like quality is really so much my focus that like if to get to 98% quality takes 10% of the effort, and to get from 98 to 100% quality takes 90% of the effort. I don't think that I'll really factor them differently when I think I should. You know,
no, you're right.
I'll be like, no, we can get to 100% quality, so we're gonna get to 100% quality. You know, that would very much be how I would think about it. So I think I'd be bad at that other role for sure.
James.
Yeah.
But I mean, you didn't really. Did you say what you thought of where you'd put me in Placebo?
Well, I mean, I think that you guys kind of nail on head, right? Like, I don't know that.
You're like, good job. You guys did a great job. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I'm still kind of waking up a little bit, so I was a little zoned out there for a second. But
I will not give you any job position that requires you to be awake within 3 hours of waking up. I got you. Message received. I'm teasing.
I don't know that that's necessarily the case.
I'm
right
teasing.
Now, I'm just. I know. I just.
Future employers, please do not take anything on this podcast.
Yeah. No, I just. I was thinking that. You know what? I don't know what I was thinking. My brain is kind of derailed itself there.
That's fair. Well, that was a good. I actually like that question. That was good. Okay, there's two things. Okay, actually, okay. Only because we've been talking about one of our friends who this kind of fits a little bit, but I also have seen it a little bit inside of me as well. So if I'm being perfectly honest, I think I'm beginning to lose the will to be tolerant, is what he said. I feel like this happens a little bit with age. That's why you always hear people talk about grumpy old men, right? It's a common societal theme. I do think part of that is after you've tried really working with people and debating with people, and then after you spent all that time, it's still, and you know that you've presented the information correctly, and you know that you're right, and you've seen it historically work out where you've been right, and people still reject it, right? There's a part of you that just gets worn down. You're just like, I don't care. I'm not going to debate. It's a waste of time. I am right. I know I'm right. I don't care. I just, it's an internal, and this is a bad thing because you should always try to convince somebody, right? Like you should always have the patience to at least try, give it a first shot. And if you can tell somebody's just not going to listen, I do think there is a value to not wasting your time. I do believe that there is a value to, like, you could convince 5 other people of the right answer, or you could spend all this time trying to convince one person and still not like. So you would have more success if you would just analyze the situation, realize it's a waste of time, and move on. I kind of feel like that. We talked about this in the past with dreams and life goals, and stuff, right? It's like I want people to assess: is this a realistic life goal for you? If it's not, then you should probably move on to something that you would be able to excel in. Don't waste your time putting all your energy into a dream that you're not capable of. Anyway, that's just a personal thing, right? But I guess, what do you guys think about that? Like, wearing out of, kind of losing tolerance to a degree.
Oh, I've no patience for anybody right now. And I know that this is just part of the environment that I've been in for the last year, then coming home and like having to deal with all that, right? But like I got home, I was at home for 2 days before I said, fuck that. I'm just gonna go live in a hotel room for 3 days while I wait for my apartment to be ready. Like I could not be around my family for more than 2 days before I was like, I can't do this, because I literally just could not handle I'm going to be 15 minutes late, but I'm not going to tell you I'm 15 minutes late. So you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to show up. Like, listen, we had a time. You said you're going to be here at this time. You're not here. Like, I can't do that. Or like the random bullshit drama shit. Like, I just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So I had to leave. And it's the same way with, I get this way with our group of friends too. It's, it's people say some dumb shit. I'm like, you know what? Okay. I can't. And I don't sometimes. Yeah, it's a bit like, normally I would be okay, well, whatever, we'll get past it, we'll figure it out, you're just having a moment, or like this is just who you are, how you are, whatever. But like right now I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to put up with it. And maybe I'll call you out on it, or maybe I'll just disappear for 5 hours and come back later, whatever. But I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's maybe the best thing either. But I think for me, at least, it's a little bit of me being less of a people pleaser than I have been in my life. And it's just, well, now this bothers me, so I'm going to just not tolerate that behavior anymore. And I'm going to do what I want to do, or I'm going to say the things that I want to say and go from there. But I don't think it's a bad thing to be like at the point where you're just not going to put up with maybe not stellar behavior.
Yeah. No, I have a sneaking suspicion we will all agree for the most part with that statement very strongly. But there's something I would like to clarify there, just because I'm curious. When you say that, okay, I'll give you an idea of what my brain's doing. Let me. So I know that Placebo also has a very when people do something he doesn't like, he's going to tell them. But I do believe that Placebo does that because he wants them to get better. Like, he wants the group to grow. He wants people to grow and get better. So his intolerance is kind of based not out of like, oh, this just annoys me and I don't like it, so fuck you. It is, I'm I'm sure to some degree that has to be there, right? Like there's an element somewhere. It's just like, oh, I'm going to tell them that it bothers me. But then because you think it's a negative, so then you realize I'm going to do this because I want the group to grow and be better. I've heard you say it, and I believe that's genuinely where your heart is. But so how do you think about that, James? Or are you like, no, right now this is just because I don't like it and fuck the world?
I think. Are you done? I think for me, it's a little bit more focused on myself. At least right now, I wouldn't say that it's always been that way, because I've always also had these kind of like, somebody will do something and be like, that's why that was dumb. Like, why act this way when you could act like a different way, mm-hmm. Right? I don't know that I necessarily call people out on it, but that's just, I hate confrontation, so like that's a lot of it.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah, just tell Placebo and he'll do it. Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
I mean, it's gotten over this last year, confrontation just kind of in my life. So like, I'm a bit different when it comes to confrontation, but I don't think it's like a healthy way of dealing with confrontation right now. I still think I'm kind of in that military mindset where we're just gonna argue to argue, and it's not gonna get us anywhere, and it's just us screaming at each other, right? So,
which I would hate too. Like, that's not my kind of confrontation at all.
And I'm not saying that like that's all the way things happen, but it's just like that mindset that you're dealing with a lot of the times. So I think that I'm trying to get better about it. Like the other day when we were playing Nemesis or whatever, and everybody was like getting on me for, I don't know, Agent of Chaos and kind of not going with the group, and everyone was losing their minds about it. Like, I was legitimately getting a little upset about it, and I had to like check myself a little bit, because I was like, okay, wait a minute here. Let's all calm down. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a time and place to try to help someone grow, but I also think that I come at it a different way, where it's like I'm in this mentality where I know this person, and I'm gonna say something to them, but I know that this is not gonna change who they are, what they do. Then I'm just not gonna do it. Like, it's just not worth my time or worth my breath to sit there and try to like convince this person to be better or to do something differently if they're just not gonna do it, because I know they're not gonna do it. So I'm just not even gonna try.
That's where we differ.
Yeah,
that's where, because I do feel the obligation to say it anyway, even if I know it's not gonna do a damn thing.
Yeah.
I do feel the obligation. There's really, really good relationship advice that I heard one time that I think isn't just for romantic relationships. It's for all types of relationships, friendships, all of them. Compromise where you can, be honest where you can't, and let the chips fall where they may, right? And I think that's sort of the key for me with this. There are some things that I can tolerate, right? Preach's sleep schedule going crazy and him being all over the place, right? Does it get under my skin? A little bit. Can I tolerate it? Yeah, I can. Right?
I will say I do try to not make it, like, even this, I tried to make it to where you could still do it. Like, I wasn't like, hey guys, we need to do it at 7 a.m. because that's when I'm the most.
And I think that goodwill towards the situation definitely contributes a lot of, well, yes, I can deal with that, right? Yeah. Like that's fine. But there's other stuff that I won't tolerate, right? Like, just generally like quite poor behavior and stuff like that. I think that's the key, right? Like, finding the things that you can be patient with, and being honest where there are things where you just can't, like James with his family, and me with my family for sure as well, right? I think a lot of us have that experience. So I get it.
Okay, that was actually, that went better than I thought that one little comment would go. So that was good. Here's another element that I think is very interesting, and I question why I feel like society has really started almost going away from this concept, which I think is a very basic, fundamental truth. It's the next one, where he says, I cannot emphasize this enough. People respond to incentive structures. I guess I'll just read the whole thing and then we can talk about it. Whatever society, writ large, incentivizes, That is what you will get more of. We should choose wisely the things which we promote as quote unquote great. I would also say it's not just promoting stuff; it's also what we punish, or there's there's the carrot and the stick, right? And I tend to agree that like humans just always function on incentivization. Like if you make something else better, a clearly better option, people will more beneficial, I think is what I should say. Better is getting somewhat metaphysical. More beneficial, people will tend to choose the more beneficial option. If you make something significantly less beneficial or more punishing, people will tend to value that when they're making, because people are always making a value judgment as to how they act and what they do. And so you have to, like, that's just how humans act. And I do wonder how much we have tried to like undermine that in society, thinking that I just don't think we can change it. I think that's an actual like human nature, core human trait of how we function. But anyway, give me your guys' thought on that.
I mean, I've said many times, you show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcomes, right? Like, I think it's obvious. We are perfect Humean agents. We take the path of least resistance to get what we want. And it's just, I mean, there's a reason if you look at like a sidewalk that goes like that and then another one that attaches here, there's a reason there's the trail through the grass right there, right? That big, every single one of them has that trail through the grass. Why would I go around, right? I go around every time because I'm heroic, but other people, yes. Of course,
Yes, of course. Jamesy Poo. Look, like
I don't know. I'm just thinking working. Like. Well, I just think it's almost a learned behavior, I guess. Because I was thinking like your example of like going through the grass or whatever. I don't cut the corner, but
because you're heroic.
No, a lot of it is because that, like, I don't know. I get this weird, like, the army kind of like it forces these weird things on you, right? And walking on the grass is one of them. Or like walking with shit in your right hand is another, right? Like there's never stuff in my right hand when I'm walking around. It's because
why is that?
Because you salute. So you have to salute with your right hand. So you always have to have your hand free just in case you walk by an officer or whatever. And their hand is free. I have to salute, right? So you just have that. You kind of like you get these learned behaviors that necessarily like I don't deal with that in an everyday situation. Like I don't have to worry about walking around and having to salute, right? But it's just something that I did for long enough that now I'm just stuck with it, right? Like I just kind of generally gravitate to these things where it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to cut through the grass. I'm going to walk around the sidewalk because that was a behavior that was drilled into me. And same with like, I'm not going to really walk around with things in my right hand because that was a behavior that was drilled into me. I just think it kind of speaks to that kind of thing. Like, I don't know that it's necessarily like an incentive thing for me. It's like, I think it's just a learned behavior.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's, yes, right. Because if you didn't do that at the beginning, there would have been a negative that made it more. Sure. So in other words, you were incentivized early, and then that's what I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Like for society, let's say criminal laws. If you always let people off super easy, it doesn't de-incentivize the action enough to make them go, well, this is to learn like, oh, this hurts more than if I get away with it, it's not, the value proposition isn't there. And eventually they learn, I don't want to do it. So it's, I think you're correct. Like, I think what you're saying is correct. Like, it's like, that's the idea of how you apply it to society is you find the things that are good for it. And then you incentivize it to the point where it just becomes a socially natural, like I would say the same thing about Japanese. Japanese people do not walk and eat at the same time because they, at some point in time, it was a law, and it still is, but it's not actually like no one's going to arrest you if you eat a corn dog. They'll look at you weird, but it's because it became a social thing because they didn't want people dropping food as they walked and not caring. They didn't want a lot of litter. And so but it became a social thing because it was at some point in time punishable and enforced. And then there's other elements that's like, oh, and this was rewarded, ergo people just learn. And then once you get that learned as a social, you almost don't, the incentives don't necessarily apply as much.
The incentives are the social weirdness
Yes.
that you would feel doing the thing with others looking at you, right? They're still there a little bit, but they can be much weaker than they were before when you're trying to instill the behavior. Yeah.
I think also too though it's the individual, because there are things like, and I'm gonna go back to like this whole military mindset thing, like walking and talking on the phone is a thing you're not supposed to be doing. Like you're not supposed to walk and use your phone, or because again it comes from a, hey, you're not paying attention, so you might not see an officer, right, or whatever, or drinking and walking at the same time, because again you might be walking by an officer, now you can't give them the greeting of the day, right? Like those are things that are also like, don't carry stuff in your right hand. It all falls under the same like umbrella, but I also don't have a problem with walking and using my phone or walking and taking a drink at the same time. Like, so I don't like the walking with my hand empty thing. I just kind of, I don't know, as an automatic reflex at this point. But I'll sit there and like use my phone sometimes, or take a drink of water or whatever I have in my hand. Like I'm gonna sit there and drink it, right? So it's like, I think it kind of depends on the person too. I don't know why I'm that way. I don't know that I have necessarily a reason that says that I'll follow this one, but this other thing that's the same kind of thing, I just kind of ignore it. But and I don't mean in uniform. I mean like just in general. Like it's not like I'm stuck with this, so I can't take a drink because I'm walking and whatever. But so I do think it kind of comes down to the person too a little bit, and how much they want to buy into whatever whatever we're talking about us, or whatever law, or social acceptable thing or whatever.
I both agree and disagree. I think that you're absolutely right, except that I don't think it's up to the person to like buy in and accept. It's up to the outside to drill into the person, right? Like I would say the outside has not drilled into the person enough those things that are left behind.
Well, I mean,
instead of the person,
you're
not
just using
buying
yourself
into
as
it.
an example.
Yeah, for me, like it's not that those things weren't drilled into me the same way. They definitely were. I mean, like all three of those things were basically highlighted at the same time, and in the same ways, right? Like I just, for whatever reason, now moving past all that, like I still have this whole, I can't have anything in my right hand, but I can still drink and walk and do whatever I want at the same time. So I don't know. I just think that because those things were still like, it's not that one was more. I wasn't punished more for one than the others, right?
Sure.
Like all three of them are kind of just in the same umbrella of thinking, right? Like they're all kind of the same thing, just different iterations of it. So I don't know why. I guess I don't know why I have one that stuck with me, but the other two I'm just kind of like whatever, right? So, but that's also just a very niche example of my own life and the circumstance that I have found myself in.
No, I think it's a good example. I think a lot of people have stuff like that. I don't think it's niche at all.
It's interesting. Yeah, I was just that is interesting. Why, like, under the same settings, two things stuck and two things didn't.
It can't. I don't think it could have been the same settings. I think there's something attached. Like I understand that you perceived them to be the same as they went in.
But you're saying there's something subconscious or something else
that says, like, well, the odds of me missing an officer if I'm walking and talking on the phone are high. The odds of me missing an officer if I'm walking with a drink or something are much lower. So the drink one does, but the phone one does, right? I just think there's other confounding variables that are not present in the mind of us that we're unaware of, but exist nonetheless.
But I'm mostly talking like those things happen, and maybe this is the distinction. I don't know. When I'm in uniform, I'm very cognizant of all three of those things.
Yeah.
Out of uniform, I don't care, except I always am walking. Like I might pick up like a trash bag, right? And I'll start walking and I'll notice it in my right hand and be like, I got to switch to my left hand. Like that's just something that I automatically do almost every time. I don't carry things in my right hand generally.
Maybe it's a comfort, physical. I don't know. I'm getting
I'm right-handed,
nitpicky,
so that's ain't no way.
I don't know, man. Like I do the same thing, but I do the same thing because I have to walk to the trash, I have to go out a gate, and to open the gate, I have to use the little thing on the top where you pluck it. And it's on the left side from where I'm at. So I have to do this weird reach around thing if I use my left hand. But with yeah, but with my right hand, I can just do it easily. So I always carry the stuff in my left hand, and it's like I don't know.
Well, I don't have any of those things like it's literally, and it's, I mean, the trash is just an example. It's
Yeah.
anything, right? If I'm carrying anything, if I'm walking around taking groceries or whatever, anything, I'll notice it's in my right hand and be like, oh, gotta take it out of my right hand. Can't have it in my right hand.
I don't know. I'm being nitpicky. I'm good.
Oh, I know.
You're fair.
This is a good little positive note. This would be good. We'll throw some positivity, We always get deep and talk about stuff. Let's talk about some positive. So he says, I know this is countercultural, but one of the easiest ways to be happier, more successful, and enjoy life more is to treat people with kindness and respect. You'd be amazed at how the world opens up to you when when your words and actions are positive rather than negative. I'm gonna let y'all start on that because this is one of those I don't have an immediate nugget of wisdom. Well, I mean, I kind of agree to a degree. I do think the way you approach life can drastically affect the way you perceive it. Those who always, for instance, victim mentality. If you're always trying to think about how you're a victim, you will perceive yourself as a victim more often. And you will act as a victim more. Or you will perceive that other people are victim. Like, you will think more people are negative towards you, and you will feel more negativity. You'll be more depressed. You'll be always thinking everything's bad. Like, so if you always think negatively towards life, you will actually perceive the same thing in a different way. I do think there is something about how you frame what you experience, like what you intake. It does have some applicability. I'm not a fan of, like, we talk about this all the time, like sports people who, like, I just said like way too many times. Let's all pretend I didn't do that. But when sports and athletes frame like their game, I don't care. Their game, I will now, for every time I say life from now on, I'm going to cut myself off because I can't help it. But how they frame when they play a game as if it's bigger than that, no weapon formed against me. We talked about this earlier, where they quote scripture as if God is like directly talking about them winning a football game or something. But that's their perception, right? They think about it that way. There's a guy who's prayed before the game on the other team too. Like, what? It's almost like if you are always thinking about something a certain way, it will impact. It absolutely like is a filter that your brain uses. But I don't know. That's my thing. I kind of agree. I would give it a good 75%. I don't like when people get a little too fruity and they're like, the reason you're not rich is you don't think that you're rich. I hate the like act like you're something else that you're not, and then you just be positive and the world will come to you. I don't know if it necessarily creates results. I think that's where the lie is people say that if you just believe positively, it magically makes everything good happen to you. I do think if you think positively, it can put you in a mindset where you are willing to act and take more action, and you will create scenarios in which more positive things can happen. But it's not the positive thinking that causes those positive things to happen. It just puts you in a mental space that you are more willing to do the actions that cause positive results. I guess that's what I'm saying. But that is my great. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that it's being a fairly negative person, because I am fairly a negative person. I would say that at least having a positive mentality allows you to see a situation differently and potentially lead to a different positive outcome. Mm-hmm. That as a negative person, I probably wouldn't see that because I just see a negative situation or the potential for a negative situation. So I think that there's something to being positive. I don't know if manifesting is necessarily a thing that changes the way the world interacts with you. But I do think that there's definitely something to being a positive person, or at least having a positive mindset, and being open to those positive like potentialities, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to add to that. I do think, like, let's say you walk up to somebody and you're positive. You're like, "Hey, how's it going?" The way you approach them does impact the way they react to you. Like, right? Like, if you
Correct.
smile at
Yeah.
somebody, they are going to immediately have a. Whereas if you come up looking grumpy, they're going to be standoffish or just immediately kind of expect worse out of you. So there is something like what you put out comes, but it's not. There's no magic to it. It's just it's just a matter of like people like to engage, and they will think about you slightly differently if they feel happiness coming from you. I mean, it just is a. Me and Placebo have talked about this week a little bit, just talking about people we know, and that I have stated that, like, when someone is constantly negative and always contradictory and just like you can literally could be like, man, this juice is good, and they're like, not if the juice is rotten, or so, they just, it doesn't matter what you say, there's like some negative take on it. It kind of wears me, like I start to feel depressed and sad, and then I'm like, I don't, this makes me kind of build frustration towards it, and then I will put that frustration onto a statement they say that may not have deserved it. Like, they were actually making just a good basic assertion or observation, and I am, because I've already had it built up from previous experiences with them, that so I don't, I it's tough. I go ahead, Placebo. I'm not doing a good job.
No, it's all right. I think I'm surprised you both took the like PMA, positive mental attitude route. I think the key is in, honestly, like, if you are acutely socially aware enough to realize you're doing it, it's in manipulating the thoughts of other people about you, right? That's really where the goodness comes from here. It's that having other people around you that think positively of you. That, oh, I love that guy. I would absolutely buy that guy a beer. Oh, I got this. Let me check with him. Let me see what he thinks, right? That sort of a thing is what creates this positivity in your life. And whether you have a positive mental attitude or not, it is the presentation that you give to other people that really is going to cause the kickback of positivity, right? So I think that's the key here. And I would hate for it to be fraudulent. I would hate for you to be, hey, how are you? How was your weekend?
Yeah,
when you don't give a flying fuck, right? That I would not like that as a system. But my answer to that is, okay, if you want this positivity, now you must care about their weekend. You must still do it, but you must actually give a fuck. And then you have a good system that's going to actually cause
what
positive
about
kickback.
yourself? Because I do think there's something about your own happiness. Like, you can be, some people can, if they think about it positively, can be content with $50,000 a year. And then there's people who are not content with $300,000 a year. And they are measurably, like, they can be measured to be less happy, and they have more emotional problems, psychological, physical problems sometimes come from that, because they are not positive and not thinking positively about their own situation. I
do think it's a necessary component, but perhaps not in this specific aspect, if that makes sense, right? Like, what he's talking about is the kickback from other people thinking good about you, right? Thinking good things about you. And for that to happen, I don't think you need that positive mental attitude. For the other aspects that make a good life, yeah, I bet you do. But for this, yeah, I think it could be totally fraudulent. But if you're presenting a good face and you're pretending well enough, they're going to think positively about you, and you're going to get the exact same kickback in both situations, I think.
Okay, my question, how long can you do that? I feel like if it is fraudulent,
how smart are you?
It eventually, I don't even know if it's, I think even really smart people, eventually there's a crack. I do think people who are fake, eventually they get found out for being fake, and then it all crumbles. Whereas if you are, it's almost like being positive is training yourself to care. Like you were saying, you need to actually care. But that is, and to me, that is being positive. Like, if you're thinking negative about people, you're not going to really care, and eventually that will crack. So it's like forcing yourself to be positive about the situation is also setting up the long-term success. It's guaranteed. It's getting a foundation. Okay.
I agree with all that. I'm not totally sold on the it will eventually crack. I do think I think I'm smart enough that if I wanted to, I could go and I could genuinely not care, and I think I could fake it with a, maybe not like online in the grand scheme with all of the people in the world, but in a community, I think I could absolutely, if I didn't give a fuck, I think I could fake it until I die. I think most people could, to be honest. I think a lot of people do. And I think that it never cracks, and they fake it until they die.
So do you think that depends on other people's emotional
love, by the
IQ?
way, that you intended for this to be a positive thing, by the way.
Well, it's just more like you should be positive. So here's the thing. I know that around certain family members, they're like, oh, you're here for Christmas. And I've always perceived that as being fake. And so I don't actually take that as positive. Like, they are, and a lot of people like them, and they are very socially accepted. But I can perceive that this is not genuine.
Yes.
And so it has a different...
From my soul, yes. I know these people. Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like, that, it doesn't matter how hard they try. It's like...
Hence, the best system is to actually
care. Yeah. No, I agree. Okay.
That's the best system.
I would agree with that. I feel like that was the core of what he was trying to say, was actually get yourself, be happy, and care, and genuinely care about others, and have a positive look towards others, because that'll make you care. I think overall that was positive. Hey, everybody, care about others. That's a positive message. We did one good thing for society. There we go. Good job, guys. Way to go. Good. Maybe I'll end it on this just because it was so upset. Did you guys remember the report this week of like CNN, Fox News, all of them were reporting that there was a school shooter on South Carolina's campus, and it was reported it was a white guy with the gray T-shirt and black shorts, and then pictures were coming out of him. The guy that they were reporting, they got reported for being an active shooter. By the way, he was reported as an active shooter. It was a kid walking with an umbrella. That's what it was. It was a child. It was a student walking with an umbrella, and someone so overreacted to a guy walking with an umbrella. They didn't just report there was a guy with a gun they thought might have a gun. They reported him as an active shooter, and they had the FBI. They closed down the campus. The news was reporting active shooter on the campus. It took like 12 hours for them to be like, oh, it was just a dude carrying an umbrella. That's literally what it was. And I don't even know, like. Positive. We should think positive about society. That's just like, I gotta remind myself that we live in a society that somebody walking with an umbrella can cause societal panic of 330 million. A country of 330 million people will be sent into a somewhat of a panic by a dude carrying an umbrella.
I mean, I think some of that is just hindsight is 2020, right? Like, in the moment, if somebody says that, and you don't react in like a specific way, and it turns out that it is a real thing, like, now you have an issue, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, oh, okay, we just caused a little bit of a panic because we all acted this way. I think there's something to be said about the way that people are reacting, but I to be honest, I never even heard about it, but I'm also on the other side of the country, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It was, I think the issue I had was more the reporting of it. I don't mind them having the FBI and everybody go to and make sure that it was safe. I think that is the correct action. If someone says it, even if it's some Karen who saw somebody walking from a distance so they couldn't tell the difference between an umbrella and a rifle, that's fine. I think that is the proper. But then when it gets to I almost feel like we're almost too instantaneous with our need for news, and that, like,
Oh yeah.
Should we not have at least made sure that it was actually a thing first?
Well, that's the problem with the media, right? The media is it's first. Whoever gets it out first is the one with the story, right? So it's get it out as fast as you can without having all the facts or whatever, and then you can get the facts right later, right? Like, but I think that's just a problem with the media in general. Like the media's a problem.
I think this should not have been reported at all, to be honest, right? Like, they made a mistake. We all move on, right? It's not news.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, they almost had to, because the senator, or maybe it was the governor of South Carolina, one of the two, tweeted it out and had all these tweets about it. And the funny thing is, she had the picture of the guy, which you could clearly see was an umbrella. I mean, any moderately intelligent person could see. And she was tweeting, active shooter, look out for this. And it was like all these weird, like, from the governor, like, panicked alerts to the public. And I think that's where
public, if we can keep it, we can keep it.
Yeah. I wonder how much social media plays into that too, right? Because now there is more than just the media, right? Everybody, a governor can just straight tweet, and now it's news, and it spreads, because then obviously other people are going to tweet her, and within 30 minutes, 1 million retweets, right? It's just like,
maybe that's the problem. Social media is just full democracy, and we're seeing how it's, you know what I mean? Like we need it to be a republic, and it's a democracy. I don't know,
but the media was a republic, right? I'll go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't think that you can take everything that's on social media. It's like, this is what that person believes. I think people, like we were talking about earlier, you get on the internet. But yeah, I'm not saying that there aren't people that post stuff that this is like a whole 100% their personality, but I also think that you get people on the internet that, I can do whatever I want because it's the internet.